Hello everybody and warm welcome to the Blockchain Technology and Applications course offered by the University of Nicosia for the Master's degree in Digital Currency. This is an introductory video for session 6. In this session we will go through the topics of distributed autonomous organizations. A DAO, or a decentralized or distributed autonomous organization, has two important features in its name. It is autonomous, meaning that it doesn't need an external entity to exist, and is decentralized, meaning that it doesn't have a home address, it doesn't have a physical address, and instead exists only distributed across the underlying blockchain network. What a DAO is in practice depends on how futuristic we are. A usual example is a DAO is in the form of a car. Such a car could own itself. It would accumulate funds by renting itself to humans or to other robots perhaps, and it would pay others to maintain it. So it would take care of itself. That would be a car DAO. Don and Alex Tapscott made several intriguing predictions in their book titled Blockchain Revolution in 2016. For instance, how the costs of managing people could be impacted by DAOs. They also defined 4 categories of new business models, varying in the degrees of functional complexity and of human involvement. Smart contracts, open networked enterprises, autonomous agents, and finally distributed autonomous enterprises, the most complex model in which members participate through smart contracts to seek a common goal. 2016 was a revolutionary year with regards to DAOs. The initial success of the first serious implementation of DAO, called the DAO, later tragically ended due to a security hole. But the DAO was made by a German company called Slockit, which were into so-called blockchain-based Internet of Things, and it was an attempt to decentralize as many things as possible, even the company that would fund their IoT products. So the idea was to make crowdfunding transparent and automated so that it would help people making their investments securely. Initially, it was an enormous success, gathering a lot of funds, perhaps even too much for their own good, but then it collapsed spectacularly, leaving a bitter taste afterwards. Still, it was an important lesson to learn for the whole ecosystem. There are other DAOs, some of them are quite involved. We will mention 2 that are comparatively ahead of the pack in terms of maturity, and they have also great teams that are contributing to the wider ecosystem as well. So, with algorithms influencing our lives more and more, so much so that we are less and less aware of it and are capable of comprehending what it all means, some talk about the hyper-tokenized technocratic dystopia. We must not lose our sight about what would be the purpose of an algorithmic governance and what would be the role of humans with it. So the increasing reliance on algorithms has deep sociological and political implications. Giles P. analyzed the dimensions of public relevance algorithms that are affecting human discourse and knowledge. While a bit off topic to blockchains, it is still something not to be taken lightly when contemplating about DAOs. Distributed autonomous organizations run in the open, and their members could be completely unknown. Perhaps we only know their pseudonyms. And there are some interesting consequences to that with regards to the transparent operation, the anonymous or pseudonymous participation, but also the aspects of accountability and liability. There is hardly a more divisive aspect in the blockchain space than the governance in Bitcoin. In 2016, Primavera De Filippi and Benjamin Lovelock published a paper that said what nobody wanted to say. There is no running away from the human factor, even in an environment of purely technical protocols and algorithms. As much as Bitcoin stands for decentralization, it faces significant political pressures. There are some initiatives for a decentralized organization on a larger scale. It depends on how serious or how strict we are of what a distributed autonomous organization is. Nonetheless, BitNation is one of first such attempts. It is described as a decentralized, borderless voluntary nation, or DBVN. It was first announced in 2014. So even when Ethereum was still just an idea, or even before many people knew about Ethereum. So it was really an idea that was thinking far ahead, if a bit optimistic at that. It is an attempt to group people not by geographical borders or nationalities, but by principles of swarms, which attract its members by shared values, and it relies on blockchain technology to securely store its data and provide transparency to its actions. Launched in 2014 as well is Estonian e-residency program, which is currently more of a government digital services platform, but has certain links to BitNation as well, like using e-residency ID as an authentication mechanism for notarizing documents for BitNation blockchain services. So this is one of the first attempts of how these things could work on a much larger scale. They are evolving, I would say, pretty slowly and conservatively and carefully, not to raise too much eyebrows, because these things can mean a huge difference in the future. So Estonia is also researching the possible uses of a government-issued EST coin, a digital currency to be used within the e-residency program. So these developments are possibly unlocking huge potential for blockchain-based services that serve citizens through a semi-decentralized, semi-autonomous government organization. So in time we will get a better feeling how autonomous these DAOs really could be. One is an idea or a theory, but in practice it can be a bit different. And the same thing as with autonomy is with the decentralization. So perhaps we are not looking at a 100% decentralization and a complete autonomy of an organization or a system. We might take a few baby steps before that. This concludes this session. Hopefully we have raised your interest in these topics. You are invited to share your opinions and comments on the forums. For any questions and any other help you might need, please don't hesitate to reach out and write an email. Thank you and happy studying!